Labor inspection. The objective of the labor inspection is to further strengthen the implementation of the visitorial and enforcement powers under the Labor Code as renumbered towards securing a higher level of compliance with labor laws and standards and ensuring continuity and sustainability of compliance at workplaces. For this purpose, the Department of Labor and Employment delegates this function to the regional offices with the issuance of a list of labor inspectors who are given the authority of conduct inspection, which covers all private establishments, including their branches and workplaces in the regions.
The regional offices enforce labor laws and social legislation through the conduct of labor inspection, occupational safety and health investigation, and technical and advisory visit. Special inspections may be conducted as may be deemed necessary.
With the provision for mobile devices and gadgets, the DOLE developed an inspection management information system. An important feature of the system is data capture and transmittal from the field in real time, as an electronic checklist is filled up through the use of mobile devices and gadgets. Data are instantly available for viewing and processing to generate reports, statistics, and summons, including real-time monitoring of decent work indicators based on the country's decent work profile. Technical and advisory visit. The TAV, or Technical and Advisory Visit, aims to provide assistance to the micro-establishments, or establishments that have 1 to 9 employees, to be sustainable, productive, and competitive. It also aims to transition our micro-establishments to the formal economy that is profitable, while also complying with our labor laws and occupational safety and health standards. There are different ways or modalities to avail TAB. First is the online method. Establishments can enroll in the self-paced technical and advisory modules through our learning management system. For establishments that opted to go with online, they must accomplish the modules within 1 month from the time they registered. Second is on-site. The DOLE regional, field, and provincial offices conduct on-site or face-to-face orientation for the technical and advisory services, wherein micro-establishments are invited to attend. Third is hybrid setup. Establishments can enroll in on-site sessions and attend virtual meetings or webinars using various online platforms like MS Teams, Viber, Skype, Zoom, or Google Meet.
Establishment owners carry a big responsibility to comply with labor laws, including submitting reports and providing documents like payroll records during inspections. But the manual filing process is a major challenge. They need to spend time, money, and effort to fill out forms and deliver them to the DOLE office, often dealing with traffic and delays. Sometimes, there's a long wait just to confirm if the report is accurate and complete. And it's not just employers facing difficulties. DOLE employees also struggle with limited manpower and the time-consuming task of reviewing and processing these reports. The time has come for change. What's required now is a more innovative, streamlined, and efficient process for handling compliance reports. One that will simplify life not just for businesses but also for DOLE employees. Welcome to the DOLE Online Compliance Portal, your all-in-one platform for seamless compliance submissions, designed to make compliance easier and more convenient for establishment owners. Telecommuting reports? Flexible work arrangement submissions? Reporting the 13th month pay? No problem. Even work accident or illness reports and the annual establishment report on wages, everything you need is now in one convenient portal. Plus, the DOLE Online Compliance Portal now includes the latest requirement for reporting movie and television shoots under Department Order 246, Series of 2024. All your compliance needs in one place, quick, secure, and hassle-free. With the DOLE Online Compliance Portal, registering your establishment is a breeze. Our automatic registration system ensures you are instantly compliant with OSH Standard Rule 1020. Once submitted, your certificate of registration is immediately available for download, saving you time and effort. If your establishment has been flagged for non-compliance during labor inspection, don't worry. Required documents can be submitted quickly and conveniently. And if you're missing certain policies, like a mental health program or OSH program, we've got you covered with downloadable templates. Submit these documents directly through the portal, where DOLE inspectors will review, provide feedback, and keep you on track for compliance. With admin access on the DOLE online compliance portal, the labor inspectors can easily review the submitted reports and documents from the establishments. If further verification is needed, they can schedule an online meeting through Google Meet, all within the portal. This streamlines compliance checks, saving time and making the process more efficient for everyone. It's a smarter, more efficient way to stay compliant and keep your business running smoothly. Welcome to a new era of compliance, simplified, fast, and effective with the DOLE online compliance portal.
Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Dinig po ba? Good afternoon, everyone. So, kumusta po ang ating mga participants joining us from the different parts of the country? We hope po you're all doing well and staying safe. So, we want to welcome you po to another exciting episode of our Webinar Wednesday, an online learning series po ng ating Department of Labor and Employment hosted by the Bureau of Working Conditions. I am Stacy Ann Ray, and I am delighted po to be your host and moderator for today's session. Before we begin, we'd love to know where you're joining us from. Kindly type po in your name, organization, and location po sa chat box po natin so we can give you a warm virtual welcome. And while you're at it, don't forget po to say hello to your fellow participants. Noong nakarang linggo po, kung napanood po ninyo yung aming previous Webinar Wednesday, ating ginugunita po ang National Disability Rights Week. Sama-sama natin pong tinalakay during that time ang kahalagahan ng pagtataguyod ng isang inklusibo at madaling maabot na lugar ng trabaho. Sapagkat ang tunay na ligtas, makatarungan at produktibong workplace ay iyong bukas po at nagbibigay ng pantay na oportunidad para sa lahat. Sa ating webinar, ibinahagi po noon ni Attorney Matthew Casis, ang Deputy Director po ng Labor for the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, Rizal RSM Chapter, ang paksang Creating Accessible and Inclusive Work Environment. Sa kanyang makabuluhang talakayan po, binigyan din niya ang kahalagahan ng paggalang sa karapatan ng mga persons with disabilities, pagtataguyod ng pantay na oportunidad at paglikha ng isang kapaligirang inklusibo sa mundo ng paggawa. Naway marami kayong natutunan na kapaki-pakinabang ng mga kaalaman at praktikal na aral para po ito ay magsilbing gabay sa pagbuo ng mga lugar ng trabaho kung saan ang bawat isa ay may paggalang, pagkakataon at kakayahang makilahok at lumunlad. Patuloy natin isulong ang accessibility, pagkakapantay-pantay at inklusyon sapagkat mas matatag ang bawat lugar ng trabaho kapag walang naiiwan at lahat ay kabilang. Now, are you ready for another informative and engaging learning session? So for Season 4, Episode 23, we will be discussing Stop Hepatitis, Promoting a Safe Work Environment. So I will be asking everyone to sit back, get your notebooks ready, and let's make the most of this learning opportunity. So before anything else po, and before we start, let us seek first the guidance of our Almighty God.
Aming mapagmahal na Diyos, lumalapit po kami sa inyo ngayon na may pusong puno ng pasasalamat para sa pagkakataong magtipon-tipon sa webinar na ito. Nagpapasalamat kami sa biyaya ng teknolohiya na nagbibigay daan upang kami ay makapag-ugnayan, makapag-aral at lumago kahit na magkakalayo kami. Naway gabayan ninyo po ang bawat tagapagsalita at kalahok upang kami ay makapagbahagi ng mga kaalaman ng makabuluhan at nagbibigay inspirasyon. Tulungan ninyo kaming makinig ng bukas ang isipan at puso, handang matuto mula sa bawat isa. Bigyan ninyo po kami ng kaliwanagan sa kaisipan at kahusayan sa pagpapahayag upang maging makahulugan at may positibong epekto ang aming talakayan. Dalangin namin na ang session na ito ay magtaguyod ng pagkakaunawaan, pagkakaisa, at pagbabahagi ng kaalaman na kapaki-pakinabang para sa lahat. Naway madama namin ang inyong presensya sa aming kalagitnaan na nagtutulak sa isang espiritu na pagkakaisa at respeto. Nagtitiwala po kami sa inyong banal na karunungan upang kami ay gabayan sa anumang pagsubok o hamon na maaari naming harapin sa araw na ito. Sa pagtatapos ng aming pagsasama-sama, naway bitbitin namin ang mga aral na aming natutunan ng may panibagong layunin at dedikasyon. Sa pangalan ni Jesus, kami po ay nananalangin. Amen.
Maraming salamat po for that pause para po natin magbigay daan for that short prayer. So I would like to welcome again po ang ating mga viewers po that are joining live po dito sa ating Facebook page. So from Region 3, isa pong maulan na hapon sa inyo. Sana po sa mga lugar po natin kung saan po natin tinitik ito pong ating conference or ito pong ating webinar Wednesday. Sana po safe po tayo lahat. So I hope po that you enjoy at we learn a lot from this webinar Wednesday's episode. So nagpapasalamat na po ako ngayon for you spending us today's afternoon po. Nakasama po kami sa inyong afternoon days po. Kung maaari po, paki-heart react or like naman po ang aming live stream. At huwag kalimutan pong i-follow ang aming official Facebook page at Dole BWC 1949 upang manatili po tayong updated sa mga programa, anunsyo at learning session ng Bureau of Working Condition. We also encourage po everyone to share this live stream po, lalo na po sa mga friends natin, family and colleagues, para po marami po tayong mga makaka-benefit sa ating today's discussion. So don't forget din po to use our official hashtag Webinar Wednesday. So throughout po ng ating webinar, we encourage everyone to participate actively. If you have any questions or clarifications, simply type them in the comment section before our live stream. Our resource speaker will gladly answer as many questions as time permits po during our question and answer portion. Now that everyone is settled, let's officially begin today's learning session. This is Season 4, Episode 23 of Webinar Wednesday. Our topic for today, Stop Hepatitis, Promoting a Safe Work Environment, highlights the importance of increasing awareness about hepatitis and strengthening workplace initiatives that promote prevention, early detection, and health protection. As employers and workers, we are here to have a shared responsibility in fostering a safe, healthy, and stigma-free work environment where everyone can thrive. Did you know that millions of people around the world are affected by hepatitis, and many are unaware that they have it? Because of this unawareness, early detection and prevention plays a vital role in protecting the health and well-being of every worker. Through today's webinar, we'll discover how each one of us can contribute to creating healthier and safer workplace. At para po mas mapalalim pa ang ating pag-unawa na sa napakahalagang aspeto o paksa po na ito, kasama natin ngayong hapon ng isang mahusay at kinikilalang eksperto sa larangang ito. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce our resource speaker for today's webinar, Dr. Mary Rose O. Argente, a Medical Officer 4 of the Department of Health, Disease Prevention and Control Bureau. She is a recognized expert in viral hepatitis B and C, as well as the triple elimination po ng mother-to-child transmission of HIV, hepatitis B and syphilis program. Through her extensive experience in public health and diseases prevention, she has been actively involved in advancing initiatives that promote awareness, prevention, and improve health outcomes for Filipinos. I am certain that we will all gain valuable knowledge and practical insights from her presentation this afternoon. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let us all give a warm virtual welcome po kay Dr. Mary Rose O. Argente.
So magandang hapon po sa lahat ng nanonood ng ating Wednesday webinar. Ngayong hapon po ay pag-uusapan natin ang hepatitis bilang paggunita sa World Hepatitis Day. Annually, every 28th day of July, World Hepatitis Day is observed globally to raise awareness on viral hepatitis. The 2026 theme Hepatitis, Let's Break It Down is a call to remove the barrier between people and the services that can save their lives. Pero ano nga po ba ang hepatitis? Hepatitis is the inflammation of the liver, the signs and symptoms of which are non-specific and depends on the type and the chronicity. Common signs and symptoms include fatigue, loss of appetite, nausea and vomiting, abdominal pain, jaundice, dark urine, light-colored stools, and joint pain. Non-infectious causes include excessive alcohol intake, drugs or medications, toxins, and autoimmune diseases, while infectious causes include the hepatitis viruses, other viruses, and bacterial infections which may occur directly through liver infection or indirectly as part of systemic infections. Viral hepatitis is the most common cause of infectious hepatitis, so there are 5 main strains and they differ in their modes of transmission, severity of the illness, geographic distribution, and prevention methods. So paano nga po ba makukuha ang hepatitis? Maaari po itong makuha una via the fecal or oral route through the ingestion of contaminated food or water, and this is true for hepatitis A and E. Hepatitis B and C may be acquired through direct exposure to infected blood or other body fluids. So when we say acute hepatitis, symptoms appear within weeks of exposure to the virus and may last for a few weeks to 6 months, while in chronic hepatitis, symptoms may not appear for years, and this can lead to serious complications such as cirrhosis or liver cancer. So for the purposes of this discussion, we'll focus po on hepatitis A, B, and C. So hepatitis A is closely associated with unsafe water or food, inadequate sanitation, and poor personal hygiene practices. So it does not cause chronic liver disease, but can cause mild to severe symptoms and rarely fulminant hepatitis or yung tinatawag po nating acute liver failure. In 2023, it was reported that people aged 30 to 39 years old had the highest rate of hepatitis A infection, and estimated death globally was at 35,569. Incubation period is between 14 to 28 days, and symptoms may be mild to severe and some may be asymptomatic. Most cases, symptoms last less than 2 months, but some may have relapsing symptoms for up to 6 months. So magtungo naman po tayo sa hepatitis B, which is a significant public health concern. So the Global Hepatitis Report 2026 reported that 0.9 million new infections, 240 million total people infected, and 1.1 million deaths were reported in 2024. So hepatitis B is primarily found in the liver, but may also be found in the blood and certain body fluids. Incubation period is between 60 to 90 days, and the virus can survive outside the body and remain infectious for at least 7 days. Long-term sequelae include liver cirrhosis and liver cancer. Madalas po ay wala itong simptomas, lalo sa mga bata. Maaari rin po itong mapasa ng isang ina sa kanyang anak nang hindi niya nalalaman. Hepatitis B causes non-specific symptoms, hence a laboratory test is needed to establish the diagnosis. So gaya po ng aking nabanggit, maaari pong maisalin ng isang ina sa kanyang anak ang virus. Nangyayari po ito during labor and delivery. Hepatitis B is not transmitted by breastfeeding except when the mother has cracked and bleeding nipples. Ang horizontal transmission naman po ay nangyayari kapag nagkaroon ng direct contact sa infected na dugo, semilya at iba pang body fluids. Halimbawa po nito ay during unprotected sexual contact at direct blood-to-blood contact gaya po ng nangyayari kapag merong needle stick injury. Chronic hepatitis C can result in severe liver damage over time and may lead to cirrhosis and liver cancer. So in contrast to hepatitis B, hepatitis C is curable. Noong pong 2024, may naitalang 0.9 million new infections, 47 million total people infected, and 240 deaths related to hepatitis C. Nakukuha po ito sa pamamaraan gaya ng hepatitis B at hindi po ito nakukuha sa breast milk, food, or casual contact. Symptomatic acute infection is uncommon. If it occurs, it takes 2 to 6 weeks to have symptoms. Symptoms include loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, dark urine, pale feces, joint pain, and jaundice. So paano nga po ba madadiagnose ang hepatitis? Meron po tayong tinatawag na guiding principles or 5 Cs. So ito po yung consent, confidentiality, counseling, correct test results, and connection, or yung tinatawag nating linkage to care. Signs and symptoms alone cannot distinguish which virus caused the infection. So kailangan po ng laboratory test para malaman or ma-diagnose ang hepatitis. So hindi ko na po iisa-isahin, pero ito po ang mga laboratory test na maaari nating ipagawa upang malaman kung tayo po ay may hepatitis. Ngayon po, magdako naman po tayo sa treatment. For hepatitis A, there is no specific antiviral treatment. It is self-limiting. Ibig sabihin po, kusa itong gumagaling. Management focuses on supportive care, ensuring adequate hydration and nutrition and rest. However, if symptoms become severe or there's evidence of dehydration, maaari po tayong magtungo sa ating pinakamalapit na health center or di po kaya ay magtungo na po tayo sa ospital. For hepatitis B, meron po tayong tinatawag na treatment eligibility criteria. Treatment-eligible patients are started on TDF or tenofovir and entecavir, and the medications are taken once daily. So tuloy-tuloy po ang pag-inom ng gamot for hepatitis B. If hindi naman po eligible for treatment, close monitoring and follow-up is crucial. So unlike hepatitis B, hepatitis C is curable. So meron po tayong gamot na available dito sa Pilipinas for hepatitis C. For hepatitis C, the duration of treatment is usually 12 to 24 weeks. So paano po tayo makakaiwas sa hepatitis? So babalikan po natin kung paano nga po ba nakukuha ang hepatitis. So hepatitis A is acquired through the ingestion of contaminated food or water. So preventive measures include improved sanitation, proper disposal of sewage within communities, avoiding unclean food and water, improved personal hygiene practices. So ito po yung ating regular hand washing. And most importantly, vaccination against hepatitis A. Hepatitis A vaccine may be given either as a single antigen or in combination with hepatitis B para po sa mga 18 years old at pataas. It is recommended to be given to children aged 12 to 23 months as part of their vaccination routine childhood vaccination. All children, adults, and adolescents aged 2 to 18 years old and who have not 2 to 18 years old who have not previously received the hepatitis A vaccine, and people at increased risk for hepatitis. So who are those at an increased risk for hepatitis? So we have international travelers, people with increased exposure for severe hepatitis, increased exposure for hepatitis like our food service delivery workers, our food service delivery workers, people with increased risk for severe disease from infection, and any person who requests vaccination should be given immunization. Meron din po tayong tinatawag na post-exposure prophylaxis. So post-exposure prophylaxis or PEP is intended to prevent hepatitis A virus infection in unvaccinated individuals who have recently been exposed. So they may be given either a single dose of hepatitis A vaccine or immunoglobulin within 2 weeks of exposure. Preventive measures for hepatitis B and C are quite similar. The only difference is that there's no vaccine available for hepatitis C, whereas hepatitis B vaccine is widely available. So post-exposure prophylaxis may also be given to those with exposure to hepatitis B either via active immunization or passive immunization. So what are the workplace risks and impact of viral hepatitis? Since hepatitis A is closely related with hygiene and sanitation, specific workplace dynamics can cause significant operational disruption should outbreaks occur. Hepatitis B and C, needle stick injuries, sharp object cuts, or direct contact with infected blood and bodily fluids increased risk of exposure. So needle stick injuries account for 37% of occupational hepatitis B infection and 39% of hepatitis C infections. So how do they impact the workplace? It may affect financial and operational costs through staff shortages due to absenteeism for recovery, and establishments may face closure or may force closure for sanitation and contact tracing, and establishments may face economic burden when they close for sanitation and contact tracing. Also, the risk of discrimination still persists, leading to unjust termination, denial of employment, and isolation of asymptomatic hepatitis B positive individuals despite no actual transmission risk. So what can be done to mitigate the impact of viral hepatitis? So meron po ba tayong legal basis? In 2010, the Department of Labor and Employment issued Department Advisory Number 05 Series of 2010. So these guidelines outline the mandatory implementation of a workplace policy and program for hepatitis B in the workplace for the private sector. So the hepatitis B program should include the following components. So we have advocacy, information, education and training, preventive strategies, social policies, screening, diagnosis, treatment, and referral to healthcare services, as well as benefits and compensation. Then in 2018, the Republic Act 11058 or the Occupational Safety and Health Standards Act was approved, and it required employers to provide a safe condition proper safety equipment, and mandatory training on occupational health. In 2020, a CSC-DOH DOLE Joint Memorandum Circular officially institutionalized occupational safety and health standards for the public sector. So kung nauna po ay for the private sector lang, ngayon naman po ay meron na tayo for the public sector. So knowing these issuances, a workplace occupational health and safety policy may be drafted, and this policy should include access to vaccination, especially for hepatitis A and hepatitis B vaccine. It should also include the standard infection precaution such as rigorous hand hygiene, engineered safety sharps, and wearing of appropriate PPEs. It should also include safe waste engineering or yung color-coded biohazard containment, or ito po yung ating waste segregation followed by proper disposal protocols for medical, clinical, and piercing waste. Then, and most importantly, our health policy should include anti-discrimination frameworks. So this includes protection of the infected workers from stigma or career stagnation while ensuring confidentiality regarding medical screening. So what are our key takeaways? So viral hepatitis, specifically hepatitis B and hepatitis C, presents a serious occupational hazard. So first, prevention. Hepatitis A and B are preventable through highly effective vaccines. Then we should follow standard precautions. We should incorporate of safety protocols into our routine daily life. Then we act immediately. When we are exposed, we seek medical attention. We report the incident because this protects long-term health and ensures that workplace can fix safety flaws. Then fight the stigma. Compassion and privacy encourage good health-seeking behavior without fear of workplace discrimination. And with that, maraming salamat po.
Mukhang nagkaroon po tayo ng internet connectivity loss. So we sincerely apologize po as we are currently experiencing a slightly technical issue po. So rest assured naman po that our technical team is already working to resolve it as quickly as possible. So while we're waiting po, let's make the most of this brief pause by interacting with one another. So feel free din po to share your thoughts in our comment section while we're waiting for our speaker po to regain their internet connectivity. If ever din po, meron siyang mga nasi-share. So, on your end po ba, what have been your biggest takeaway for our programs discussion po as so far naman? So, me myself po, I am already taking notes po. Sabi nga ni Doktora kanina, hindi po iba-iba po ang mga klase ng hepatitis. So, meron tayong hepatitis A, hepatitis B, and hepatitis C. So on that note po, bilang tayo po ay mga employer or mga employee po ng ating company, meron na po ba tayo kaya mga workplace policies or programs po related po sa today's topic natin? Ano po kaya yung mga challenges po na that you are encountering in terms of promotion of the safety and health work environment po sa ating kanya-kanyang organization? So feel free po to share your insights, and if ever po that you have questions sa ating chat box po, we'd love to hear your experiences po on that po. Your comments po may even help po to enrich our discussion and encourage the learning po among our fellow participants. If ever po may mga naisip na po kayong mga katanungan, so feel free din po to post questions for our resource speaker later on, who will be joining us po, one of the doctor din po from the Bureau of Working Conditions. So siya po ay magjo-join later for our Q&A portion po. So if ever po, you can keep posting po sa comment section, and we'll do our best po to accommodate as many as possible during the question and answer portion po. So we hope po that join us po. So if ever po, thank you for your patience and understanding and continued participation po while we're waiting po for our speaker to be live po again due to internet connectivity loss po. Yan. So kanina naman po, kayo po ay nagno-note naman. So far po, ano po ba yung mga na-discuss na po ba that you think po na mga napag-usapan na ako, ma'am? Personally, I was thinking that there are different po pala na hepatitis. So at the same time, they are viral, meron din po palang bacterial, and the best thing to do was prevention because vaccines are actually po available. So since our immunization from childhood, nakakaroon na po ng mga programang bakuna ang ating gobyerno para po ma-avail po natin at maprotektahan po hindi lang po ang ating sarili, pati po yung mga mahal natin po sa buhay para po hindi na nila makuha or sila po ay magkaroon ng protection against po kay hepatitis. So nasabi rin kasi ni Doktora kanina that they are considered as occupational hazard. So ang hazard po ay hindi lang po siya sa kumbaga ay tangible. So it is also one of the things that we note is ano po ba yung mga health risks na pwede nating makuha. So nakita naman po natin kanina sa presentation ni Doktora na isa po siya sa mga occupational hazard na tinuturing po natin. So as to the signs and symptoms naman po, nasabi ni Doktora kanina, na hindi po pala pwedeng maging basihan ang sintomas lang na nararamdaman ng ating mga pasyente or ng ating mga kasamahan sa trabaho para masabi natin kung anong klaseng hepatitis na meron siya. So, kailangan pa rin may definitive diagnostic testing para malampatan po siya ng appropriate din na medical treatment. So, sa mga N po ba? So, meron po ba tayo dito sa Facebook Live that you would like to. Yeah, so iba-iba po tayo ha. There are watching. So meron pong nanonood from Calamba, Laguna. So hello po. Good afternoon. And then meron po from Iligan City. So good afternoon din po. And from San Jose del Monte, Bulacan po siguro ito. Magandang hapon din po. So maulan man po. Sana po ay stay tuned lang po at kasama niyo po kami this afternoon. So meron din po tayo from Davao. So good afternoon din po. So while we're waiting po, and meron din po tayo sa Tacloban. So magandang hapon din po sa inyo. So ayan, sige po. So while we're waiting po for our speaker to be live again po. Okay, so we're back po. So our apologies po on that. So pag po talaga live, meron tayong mga technical difficulties po na encounter. So I hope po you have not left po our Facebook live po. So O, nandito pa po sana halos ng ating mga kasamahan na manonood po. So, we're back at it po. So, let's just enjoy the day po as the continue of the discussion po for stop hepatitis po. So while we're at it po, so medyo po nagkakaroon ng longer time to fix po yung ating mga internet connectivity and mga troubleshooting po. So if ever po, we will pause for a break muna po.
Okay.
Ayan, so we're back po. Ayan, so I hope we're all here po. Isa naman pong heart sign dyan or like po sign na nandito pa po ang ating mga kasamahan na nanonood. So thank you so much po for the discussion kanina na ating pong ibinigay or ito po ay shinare sa atin ni Dr. Mary Rose Orhente for that informative po and insightful discussion pertaining po sa ating topic na Stop Hepatitis, Promoting a Safe Work Environment. So kanina kamukha po ng mga napapag-usapan po natin ng mga sharing. So I'm sure naman po all of us learn a great deal from the presentation this afternoon po. More importantly, we are reminded po that preventing hepatitis is a shared responsibility and that every workplace plays a vital role in promoting the health, safety, and well-being of our workers. As they say, learning becomes even more meaningful when we ask questions and exchange ideas. And based on the comments and questions we've been receiving, I can see that our participants are just as eager po to learn more. So without further ado, let us now proceed to our question and answer portion. So we will now be joined by our own doctor from the Bureau of Working Condition. So makakasama po natin ngayong hapon si Dr. Marco Antonio Valeros, Medical Officer 4 of our Bureau of Working Condition. So let's begin with our first question, Doc. Hi, Doc. Good afternoon po.
Hello. Good afternoon din.
So on that note po, Doc, I will be reading po ang ating first question. So una pong katanungan, meron pong nagtanong sa ating mga kasamahan na nag-join po, can an employer refuse to hire someone with hepatitis B?
Okay, my answer to that is a big no kasi po that is tantamount to discrimination. We are signatory to ILO Convention 111 o yung tinatawag na Discrimination in Employment and Occupation Convention 1958 po, no? So dito po sinasabi na ano po ang mga job applicants must be given po, no, yung fair equal chance po na ma-hire. Kasama na po yung discrimination against doon po sa pagkakaroon po ng sakit kasi po as mentioned kanina by Dr. Argente, na majority of those workers na meron pong hepatitis B are asymptomatic and are capable of doing yung ano po, yung trabaho, no? The basis should be yung qualification ng individual to perform yung task, yung skills na meron po siya. Okay, so yun, dapat po hindi sila ma-discriminate. And a little backgrounder po, no? Kaya po in-issue itong Department Advisory 05 Series of 2010 because yung marami pong sumbong sa DOLE na marami nga po ang na-discriminate po, no, sa work. Nagiging part siya ng ng pre-employment examination na kung tutuusin, wala namang kinalaman po sa trabaho kasi hindi naman po siya nagpo-pose danger sa mga co-workers niya kasi yung transmission po nito ay hindi naman nakukuha sa ordinary contact po sa trabaho. So kung meron po tayong around 16% hanggang 18% na incidents, those number of Filipinos ay madi-deny ng rightful and gainful employment. So maganda po, no, na maipaunawa po ito sa mga employer na hindi sila ganun na nakakahawa. Unlike sa hepatitis A na fecal oral yung transmission, itong hepatitis B, it's more of yung through contaminated blood, no? Na kung wala namang blood or body fluids, no, na pwedeng ma-transmit dahil sa occupation nila hindi naman dapat po sila na di-deny ng rightful and gainful employment.
Thank you po doon, Doc. So narinig ko nga, Doc, sabi mo 18 to 19% of the total population. Ang laki naman pong epekto sa labor natin kung sila po ay hindi natin mapagbigyan if they are already performing, or ibig pong sabihin ay kaya naman nila at dahil lang doon sa sakit nila ay nadidiscriminate nga po sila doon sa opportunity para makapagtrabaho. Ayan. So for the next question po, so question number 2, kailangan po bang i-disclose ng employee ang kanyang hepatitis B status?
Not necessarily po, no? Kasi hindi naman kailangan na i-disclose, no? Kasi that is bound by yung sa data privacy, no? So pwedeng sarilinin ng ano po, no, ng worker yung hepatitis B status po niya. However, no, it is highly encouraged na kung ano po, no, kung maaari po siyang makahawa kasi yung nature of work niya. Halimbawa, sa isa siyang healthcare worker at maganda mai-relay yan sa kanya supervisor para mai-assign siya sa particular task na hindi niya kailangan gumamit ng ano ng mga needles, no, hindi siya makapag-endanger ng ano na makahawa siya. Pero as a general rule nga, hindi naman po kailangan na mag-disclose po yung ano yung employee sa kahit kanino, sa boss man niya o sa ano. For medical ano po 'no, halimbawa, mayroong immunization program na ang kumpanya na pinagtatrabahuhan niya 'no. So puwede siya mag-ano doon sa healthcare worker po 'no, na walang magiging, epekto rin yung bakuna sa kanya kasi nga meron na siyang hepatitis B, so puwede niyang i-disclose din naman po doon. At of course bound by confidentiality, rule din naman yung mga healthcare workers natin na hindi i-di-divulge yung information about sa hepatitis B status ng isang worker po sa kumpanya.
So tama Doc, no? Hindi naman siya exactly kailangan na nandun sa pre-employment exam ng ating mga papasok na empleyado.
Yes, correct, Miss Stacy, tama po.
So for the next question po, so ito pong katanungan, sino lamang po ba? So parang mayroon po kasunod dun sa question kanina na number 2, sino lang po ba ang pwedeng may access sa medical records?
Okay, so as mentioned kanina, no, yung mga healthcare workers po, no, na involved po, no, sa company. Halimbawa, yung occupational health physician o yung occupational health nurse niya. So sila lamang po, no, yung may access po sa medical record po ng pasyente. Okay, if and when kailanganin siyempre na for compensation purposes or halimbawa sickness benefit, no, sa SSS, of course yung HR ang maglalakad din po niyan. So bounded din po siya, no, ng confidentiality rule ng company. As much as possible, no, ang general rule diyan kakaunti lang sila na na makaka-access sa medical record. At yung medical record ng patient, no, separate siya sa file ng worker doon sa HR. Nasa clinic lang yan or sa file ng ating mga occupational health physician or nurses yung may hawak. Pero again, kung kailangan ng for compensation, halimbawa ECC, halimbawa sa SSS, no, of course maka-access si HR personnel doon, pero siguro kung marami sila, isa lang yung authorized na mag-handle ng mga medical records at of course bound siya ng secrecy o ng confidentiality rule po.
Thank you, Doc, for that clarification. So alam na po natin ngayon na kung sino lang po talaga ang mayroon pong dapat na access at kailan po nagkaka-access yung mga ibang management personnel po pagdating sa medical records. Yan. For number 4 question po natin from our audience, is hepatitis B vaccination po ba? Required po ba for everyone, Doc?
Not necessarily po, no? As mentioned kanina sa presentation, only those occupation na merong possible exposure sa blood and bodily fluids po. Sila po yung merong dapat na mandatory program for immunization ang mga companies, no? Tulad sa healthcare facilities, sama na rin yung mga nag-eembalsa, no? Kasi may yan sa mga dugo at body fluids. Yung mga emergency responder, yan yung mga ambulance na na nagre-rescue, yung mga na-aksidente, ayan, may mga dugo rin kasi diyan no, na involved. So sila po yung mandatory na dapat po ay meron pong bakuna. But yung mga yung mga companies na wala namang possible exposure pero kung gusto nila na magkaroon ng ganoong programa para sa kanilang mga empleyado, pwede naman po, no? Pero we don't compel at hindi siya mandatory for them. Only those na yung occupation ay merong risk ng transmission through blood and bodily fluids, no? So doon lang sila required ng DOLE.
So, klaro po. So, depende po sa nature of work. So, if ever naman po na ang company ay willing naman to shoulder or to have such a program po, so much willing, voluntary din naman din po ang pagbabaksin po sa ganun. Ayan. So, number 5 question. Is hepatitis B compensable? Doc, ano
So,
kaya ito, Doc?
ayan. Okay, so magandang tanong po yan, ano? In fact, kasama po ito sa Annex A ng ECC, no? Sa PD 626. Compensable siya, yes, and no. Ayan, ang gulo ko, no? Yes and no. Compensable po siya if ano po natin, maililink natin through medical and occupational, risk yung pagkakaroon niya ng hepatitis B, mako-compensate po yon. So ano pong ibig ko pong sabihin, kung ikaw ay healthcare worker, no? Be it dentista ka, doktor ka, nurse ka, medtech ka, yan. So they are at risk, no, na magkaroon ng hepatitis B. However, no, kung yung occupation mo ay out po doon, to increase risk theory, pwede rin naman. Halimbawa, kung ikaw ay janitress or janitor, ayan, at part ng mo nagki-clean doon ka sa sa clinic, halimbawa, magdilinis ka. Siyempre may mga dugo diyan, may mga body fluids, no? Waste collector ka, yan, lalo kung sa hospital, yon. So kailangan lang to increase risk theory, mai-connect natin na maari yung na-acquire mo yung sakit in the performance of your job, no? But again, that would depend then sa medical evaluation ng atin pong mga medical evaluators sa SSS para sa private sector, GSIS para sa public sector, no? At kung ma-deny sila, automatic naman yung request for claims, no, na iaakyat naman yan sa ECC. So ang kailangan lang yung causal relationship mai-connect po natin, hindi lang sa nature ng trabaho, yung occupation, but also sa yung particular task na ginagawa, yung possible na sa task mo na na-acquire mo yung yung hepatitis B. Ayun. So yun yung susi doon sa compensability, yung medical and occupational link doon sa hepatitis B, kailangan mailagay doon sa atin pong claims ng para sa sakit na hepatitis B.
Okay. Thank you po for the clarification, Doc. So, alam na po natin kung kailan nagiging compensable kapag po pagdating sa sakit na hepatitis B. Yes. For our next question po, saan po makakakuha ng vaccine para sa hepatitis B?
Ayan, so magandang tanong Para sa mga infant yung mga less than 1 year, ang gobyerno po, particularly ang Department of Health, no, to the local government units, no, sa mga health centers, may libreng bakuna po, no, para sa mga babies, no, mababa sa 1 year para sa hepatitis B. Ayan. Yan para sa mga mga babies. Para naman sa mga adult, ayan, at yung kumpanya gustong magbigay ng bakuna para sa kanilang mga empleyado, pwede naman itong mabili po sa any pharmacy na nagtitinda po nito, or pwede ring diretso sa MedRep, sa medical representative na nag-handle po nito para bultuhan yung kuha, mas mababa siya na makukuha. Ang ko lang po dito, i-observe yung cold chain management, na ma-maintain natin yung tamang temperatura para maging yung bisa ng vaccine hindi nako-compromise. Kasi temperature sensitive po ito, no? Pagka sobrang ano naman, yung init, no? Masyadong mainit, no? Binahin ng walang ice, walang yelo, namamatay din yung bakuna. May inject sa'yo pero wala na rin siyang visa. Or inilagay mo sa sa freezer na nagyelo, ganun din. May temperature tayo dapat na maintain para mapanatili natin yung potency o yung bisa nung bakuna para sa hepatitis B. Pero again, reiterate ko lang hindi siya mandatory sa lahat ng ng industry. Mandatory siya sa mga industry, no, tulad ng healthcare or other occupation na mayroong possible exchange ng body at possible exposure sa body fluids tsaka sa blood. Ayan. Sa mga mga janitors at mga janitor naglilinis ng mga dugo, i-observe natin yung universal precaution na lahat ng dugo, lahat ng body fluid, no, ituring natin siyang infectious. Ang ibig kong sabihin, magsuot tayo ng PPE at ng gloves, no? Kasi kahit yung talsik lang nito sa atin pong mata, no, yung tawag yung mucous membrane, ay pwede ring maging cause ng magkaroon ng hepatitis B. Kaya dapat naka-goggles tayo, naka-mask tayo, at naka-gloves tayo. At of course, yung panlinis natin sodium hypochlorite, no? 10% solution ng household bleach at saka ng water. Yan. So siguraduhin po natin na ganun. Ang din natin kahit po yung dugo, no? Hanggang 7 days po, no? Kahit natuyo yan, nananatili po diyan yung virus. So yun yung medyo pakaingatan po natin na wag nating baliwalain ang pananggalang o yung protection po sa atin o yung mga sa English ang tawag po personal protective equipment.
Yun. So, thank you po, Doc. So, protect yourself so that you can be able to protect others. So, tama nga naman sabi ni Doc kanina. So, number 7 question. So, Doc, good afternoon. We are in a food manufacturing plant for a dressing plant. Ask ko lang po, if our employee is positive in hepatitis as per the medical result ng SBA's AG po nila, ano po ang gagawin namin sa employee namin as HR po? Can he or she continues his or her work in the processing line?
Yes po. Kasi ang hepatitis B naman po, ang transmission niyan is through yung unprotected sex, yung exposure sa contaminated na blood, tapos maternal to child, yung buntis na ipapasa sa anak po, no? Unlike sa hepatitis A na fecal oral yung transmission, ibig ko po sabihin ako po ay may hepatitis A, ako po ay gumamit ng restroom, hindi maganda ang hugas ng aking kamay at ako'y nag-prepare ng pagkain. Yung mga kakain na prepare ko ay merong chance na mahawa sa hepatitis A. Kasi foodborne po yun no? Ang transmission is through fecal oral. Pero pagka hepatitis B naman po ang sakit, no? Regardless po, kahit nasa food business po siya, ay hindi naman po siya nakakahawa. Yun yung masisigurado natin kasi through blood and bodily fluid po ang transmission ng mga personnel na merong hepatitis B, no? Pero kung ano pa rin kayo, talagang sa tingin nyo yung gusto nyo talaga no? Maging maingat, pwede natin siyang ilipat ng department na hindi nag-aano sa mahawak ng mga pagkain, no? Lagay natin siya sa sa admin task, no? Kung gusto po natin. Pero again, ang gusto ko lang i-reiterate na kahit po nasa nasa dressing plant siya, hindi pa rin po siya makakahawa, no? Kasi hindi naman through food yung transmission ng hepatitis B. Ayan.
Thank you dun po, sir. So, nalinawan na siguro, Doc, yung nagtanong ng 7. So, for the next question po, Number 8, good afternoon. Regarding the vaccine, employer po ba ang magpo-provide sa employees? Mandatory po ba? So, yun, Doc. Parang nasagot yata kanina to, Doc.
Yes po, reiterate ko lang po na kung ang company ay nasa healthcare o health facility yung ano no at nagawa siya ng programa para sa mga empleyado niya po ay ano po. Of course, siya yung mag-ano. Siya yung magsho-shoulder ng cost ng vaccine. Ayan. Although most of the time naman majority ng mga employees sa healthcare no bakunado na. 'Di ba Mrs. Stacy bago tayo mag-duty noon sa ano ni-require yan ng school sa atin. So kumbaga konti na lang din naman yung magagastos ng ano ng employer no sa healthcare facility if ever na ano po siya ng ganoong programa. Pero sa ano po sa mga ibang industry na gagawin siyang programa unlike sa COVID talagang sinabi doon si employer pero pagka ganon lalo't clamor yan ng ano pwedeng cost sharing yan or pwedeng salary deduction. Hindi kasi yung department advisory no hindi naman sinasabi na mandatory na kailangan magpabakuna sa lahat ng ano industry. Ayan. Pero again, that would depend din ano sa magiging agreement ng atin pong ano mga workers at ng employer po nila no through collective bargaining agreement. Pero pagdating sa healthcare or talagang yung sa mga industry na merong danger ng transmission sa performance ng job, mandatory po na si employer ang mag-shoulder po ng bakuna.
Ayan, tama si Doc. Naalala ko yung mga nursing days. So, kasama po dun sa mga vaccine yan. Tsaka po pag mga bata, kasama nga po talaga dun sa childhood immunization. Kaya mostly baka mga boosters, if ever po na nakatanggap na kayo previously yung mga binibigay. Parang mas mura yata yun na, Doc, kapag mga booster na lang.
Oo, kasi ano na
Oo.
lang yan one time na lang yan. Unlike sa ano, yung full dose ito is 3 ano 3 times na ibibigay no. 0, 1, 6 no. 0 yung ngayon after 1 month and then after 6 months.
Kaya medyo makakamura rin pa rin po si employer kung sakali po it will be part of the program or kung yung inyong nature of industry po ay nangangailangan talaga na meron po tayong immunization pagdating po sa hepatitis B. So for the next question po, so need po ba ng employer to have a titer test?
Yes po, definitely po kailangan po 'yan ano para ma-ensure po natin yung ano, yung hepatitis B status ng atin pong mga employees bago ibigay yung bakuna. Pero of course no, si employer magsho-shoulder ng test pero of course yung mga result niyan nasa ano lang 'yan, nasa healthcare workers po 'yan. At sa patient mismo, sa employee, walang access si employer po sa magiging resulta nung titer test na gagawin sa atin pong mga employees po.
Ayun po. So for the next question po natin, so hello Doc, question po. Meron pong mga employee po kami na pregi na nag-reactive po sa HBsAg, so yung antigen. So pina-confirmatory test po siya ng aming HPV DNA viral load. So mababa naman po sa 200,000 IU/unit. So di na siya pina-antiviral medication. Nung pina-bilirubin test, medyo mataas po ang direct bilirubin niya, pero ang total is within normal. Okay lang po ba siyang pumasok sa work? As HR, ano pong pwedeng i-advise sa kanya?
Okay, so pinakamaganda na lang po no. So dahil nagawa yung mga test na ito, na ibig sabihin po meron siyang attending physician, may OB po siya. Ayan. So pwede nating ano no, hingan si OB niya ng ano po, medical certificate na for guidance po ng ano ng workplace po, ng HR po kung ano yung magandang gawin po sa ano sa employee po nila na pregi. Ayan.
Okay, so it is a certificate from the medical attending physician po na may hawak. Yan. Next question, required po ba ang company doc na magpa-HEPA screening?
Not necessarily po, no? Magpapa-HEPA screen lang tayo kapag meron tayong immunization program na gagawin. Otherwise, hindi naman po siya kailangan, no? Kasi ang fear natin baka magamit po yung result, no, magamit as part ng ng discrimination sa workplace, no, pag si Doc Mark may HEPA B ganyan, so madi-discriminate na ako. So yun yung pinakaiiwasan natin, habang of course meron tayong policy, no, yung Department Advisory 05 series of 2010, no, against sa mga mga employer na nagdi-discriminate sa kanila pong mga employees na may HEPA B. Ang on the other side, no, yung awareness and education natin, pinalalakas din natin para ma-inform sila na they should not be, yung workers po nila should not be stigmatized kasi may HEPA B, kasi hindi naman nakakahawa, no, through ordinary means, no, pag-shake hands, paggamit ng the same na upuan, even sa toilet seat, ayun, hindi naman, even yung pag-share ng utensils, hindi siya nakakahawa, no. So yun yung gusto natin sana na i-impart sa atin pong mga mga co-employees, no, at of course sa mga employers ng mga workers na mayroong hepatitis B, na hindi sila infectious at they do not pose ng harm or danger doon sa kanilang workplace.
Oo nga, Dok. Kasi di ba minsan, Dok, pag ganon yung iba, nahihiya kasi pinandidirian sila kasi without the proper information, akala yung simpleng mga utensils or paghawak sa kanila, nahahawa na nga yung ating mga kasamahan sa work. So, proper information dissemination. So, for the next question po, for employee, HEPA B screening reactive result and was advised to secure IM clearance and was cleared by the internal medicine doctor. So, safe to work na po ba siya?
Yes po. Majority ng atin pong mga patients na may hepatitis B are asymptomatic, no? Wala po silang nararamdaman na anything, no? In fact, no, incidental lang yung yung nagiging findings kasi naging part ng examination yung hepatitis B screening, pero actually wala naman silang nararamdaman. And of course, no, sa part naman niya, hindi rin siya nakakahawa sa mga sa mga kasamahan niya through ordinary means, no. Again, ang transmission ng hepatitis B is through unprotected sex, through yung contaminated blood, and of course maternal to child, no, yung vertical transmission. Other than that, wala na tayong dapat na ikabahala na makahawa siya sa kanyang mga kasamahan. So safe po siya dahil hindi dahil siya na-clear siya ng internal med na doktor niya, kundi dahil sa nature talaga ng transmission ng hepatitis B na hindi siya ganoon ka infectious, yung transmission ay hindi ganoon kabilis or kadali. Ayan.
Yan. So, tama si Doc. Taga safe. Pwede na pong mag-return to work. Yeah. So, next question po tayo. If chronic hepatitis B carrier in pregnancy po ang diagnosis ng internal medicine doctor, nakakahawa po ba yun? Curable pa po ba siya?
Ayun. So, ganda ng tanong. So, chronic hepatitis B carrier pregnancy. Ibig sabihin, matagal na yung hepatitis B nung nung patient. Ayan. So, yun yung diagnosis ng IM niya. Kung tanong, nakakahawa po ba yon? Again, hindi. Except, no, kung mag-engage siya sa mga tatlong sa bata, definitely. Yung baby, no, na ipapanganak niya ay maaaring magkaroon ng malaki yung chance, no. Kaya nga very important, no, na sa mga buntis na may hepatitis B, ma-inform yung ating mga doktor para paglabas ng ng baby, may intervention po na gagawin sa bata, no, para ma-address po yung possible transmission ng hepatitis B na virus from the mother hanggang sa bata. Sa tanong na curable po ba? Ayan. So magandang tanong po, no? May treatment po, no, as discussed by Dr. Argente, pero walang cure. Ang gulo naman ni Doc, no? May treatment pero walang cure. Ibig ko po sabihin, may treatment po, may gamot, no, para hindi ma-aggravate yung condition, hindi lumala yung condition, patuloy na maprotektahan, no, yung liver nat ng mga patient na ano, kasi yun yung yun yung magiging complication niya later, no, liver cancer, liver cirrhosis. Pero no, may treatment pero walang cure. Ibig sabihin, every time na magpapatay siya for Hepa B, madidetect pa rin yung virus, no, sa dugo niya. So walang cure pero meron pong treatment. Yun yung ma-ensure ko po na ano pa, no. Yun po yung practice po ngayon. Kaya kailangan po, no, lahat ng nagpa-positive sa hepatitis B, they need to consult yung doctor po para ma-evaluate po sila kung kailangan po ba nila ng mga gamot, no, mga antiviral para sa hepatitis B or pwedeng hindi na, no. So baka yung mga gamot na lang to protect the liver. So depende po, no. Kailangan lang talaga po nilang magpatingin po sa kanila pong mga doctors, no. Pinakamaganda po, no, sa kahit internal med na muna, saka sila patingin, no, sa mga espesyalista, mga gastroenterologist or talagang mga liver na specialist po.
Okay. So on that note, Doc, ibig sabihin, no, curable pero hindi treatable. Mas maganda talaga, Doc, that prevention, no? Una pala, utmost upholding nila na prevention in case doon. So for the next question po, why are the HR heads of hotel and restaurant industries screening for Hepa B on their applicants and disqualifies them if positive on Hepa B antigen testing? As we all know, there is no occupational risk of transmission in this type of industry. Management does not accept inputs from our occupational health physician and other occupational health personnel. Yet none are sanctioned by DOLE since they are no complainants.
Yun po yung problema, Miss Tracy, no? Wala kasing complainant, so hindi napapaabot po sa DOLE yung problema, no? So ay ano po, no? May I request po, no, na yung mga nanonood po sa atin, pag may mga ganitong mga incidents, similar incidents, no, pwede niyo pong ipagbigay alam po sa DOLE, regional or field offices na merong jurisdiction doon sa lugar, no. Depende kasi, no, yung location ng business, kung sino yung DOL na regional or field office yung may hawak po sa kanila. Maaring hindi lang kasi informed yung atin pong mga HR people on this, no? Kaya kailangan na makausap po sila. Again, yung fear po natin na yung ma-deny ng rightful and gainful employment yung atin pong mga kababayan, ay yun ang i-address po ng DOLE. Magandang makausap sila, ma-educate sila, no? May mga matitigas talaga ulo na ayaw maniwala sa mga doktor nila, no? Nag-hire pa sila ng OH physician pero hindi rin nakikinig, no? Pero siguro pagka si DOLE na po ang ano sa kanila, baka makinig naman po sa amin kung maipapaliwanag po sa kanila yung laman ng ating pong department advisory, no? So even, no, anonymous complaint, no, tinatanggap po ng DOLE yan. Basta po talagang wag yun naman kaming i-prank na no, basta mayroong ganong incident, kahit hindi na po kayo magpakilala, ipupuntahan po ng DOLE yan to check on kung ano yung mga concerns, mga issues na ni-raise, no, ano yung basis ng mga complaints, no. So titingnan ng DOLE yan.
Ayan po, so meron po tayong mga anonymous complaint. Pwede naman po tayo mag-file kahit hindi mag-identify yung tao. At the same time, kung saan po jurisdiction po ni DOLE, kayo po located, pwede naman po tayong humingi ng mga labor education orientation para po maging aware not only the employees, pati po yung mga employer po natin. Kamukha po nung sinabi ni Doc Mark kanina, baka po nagkakaroon lang po ng lack of awareness kaya nagkakaroon ng mga ganun po na mandate si management pagdating po sa company ninyo.
Baka na may mix up nila, Tracy, yung Hepa A sa Hepa B, na
yes
si
po,
Hepa
no.
B, akala nila
mga misconception.
so they need to be talaga. educated, no? Magkaroon
Yes.
ng labor ed sa kanila.
Okay po. So on that note, next question po tayo. So is hepatitis A, B, and C curable? Another question, how can we say it's work-related or not?
Ayan, so maganda yung tanong ano. Of course nabanggit kanina, si hepatitis A tsaka si C curable po 'yan. Ano po? Preventable din kasi may mga ano rin diyan, mga yung particular sa hepatitis A may vaccine din tayo diyan. Lalo yung mga travelers, no. Ngayon sa ano, curable kasi after a while mawawala na sa ano sa sa blood natin ano sa testing, no yung hepatitis A at C na virus, no yung nadinig ko kanina kay Dr. Argente yung hepatitis C, no curable siya within 12 to 24 months, whereas si hepatitis B again wala siyang cure pero may treatment po, no. At of course yung how can we say if it's work related or not, no? Sabi madaling ano yan eh. Basta ang trabaho mo nasa healthcare ka, no? Nag-handle ka ng mga or ano, waste collectors, ano, may exposure sa biological waste, no? Particularly blood, body fluids, no? Maaari nating mai-connect. Whereas yung hepatitis A, parang mahirap siyang mai-connect, no? Except kung may outbreak doon sa ano, sa office. Ayan. Halimbawa, marami kayong nagkaroon ng hepatitis A sa office at na-trace na yung canteen, halimbawa, nung ano, yung cafeteria, yun yung cause. Pwede pa rin, no? Sabi ko nga, to increase risk theory ng ECC, pwede pa rin po yun. But again, i-caution ko lang kayo, no, na yung sinasabi ko is based lang sa information na meron po tayo, no, opinion ko po iyon. Pero ang may final say pa rin, of course, yung mga medical evaluators at yung board. Kasi yung medical evaluators din nila, recommendatory din lang yan. Pero yung board po ng ECC, yun yung nagde-decide ultimately kung i-award ba yung claims or hindi, no? Pero of course sa sa SSS, sa GSIS may mga sarili-sariling medical evaluator yan. Pag inokay yan ng boss nila yan, okay na. Aakyat lang naman yung yung request for claim sa ECC pagka na-deny. So yun yung medyo dapat pagka gumawa tayong medical abstract or nagpasa ng mga document, dapat malinaw po doon yung work relatedness na kasi yung hepatitis A, B, tsaka C, no, most of which, no, pwede ma-acquire sa community o outside sa workplace eh. So kailangan ma-document po. Yun yung pinaka mai-advise ko po sa inyo para ma-award po yung claims, no. Otherwise, pagka hindi malinaw yung atin pong causal relationship na ipapadala sa kanila, baka ma-deny lang po tayo, no. So patulong po tayo sa ating po mga occupational health personnel para sa processing po ng ating mga claims, no. Yung mga supporting documents na kakailanganin para sa claims, no, mai-ready po nila para ma-assistehan po ng ng mga OH personnel yung claimant para sa work relatedness ng mga sakit.
Okay. So the keyword is dapat well documented para masabi natin may causal relationship yung sakit doon sa pinagtatrabahuhan. So next question po tayo. So question 16, viral hepatitis is often called a silent killer with few early symptoms. What screening or check-up protocol do you recommend companies including in their annual physical exam?
Okay, ganito po kasi, no, yung request po na laboratory request sa annual physical exam, no, hindi po tayo kumbaga hindi siya dikahon, no, na ayan, CBC, urinalysis, chest X-ray, ECG, hepatitis B screening, et cetera, no. Depende po sa sa risk ng ng companies, no, yung atin pong i-request na mga laboratory examination. Definitely sa healthcare facilities, no, kasama po 'yan sa atin pong sa atin pong i-request na na laboratory workup, no? Whereas sa ibang mga naman, again, ang fear kasi natin pag isinama yan, pwedeng pwedeng ma-discriminate sila. Not unless meron tayong protocol na talagang ma-observe, no? Yung utmost medical confidentiality na between doon na sa healthcare workers at sa patient lang yung yung magiging result, no? Pwede natin siyang isama. Wala naman tayong magiging problem doon. The medical personnel na as part ng kanilang medical surveillance, pwede silang makagawa ng mga programs, no, based doon sa result ng kanilang ng kanilang annual PE, or ibang mga examination, special examination na gagawin. So ang general rule talaga, hindi po siya isinasama sa atin pong sa atin pong annual physical exam, lalo kung walang risk na magkaroon ka nito. So siguro on your own pwede naman, pero ako it's more of yung sa prevention, yung atin pong magiging concentration. Sa po, no, sa mga healthcare facility, ano po ba yung nagiging problem natin with this, na paano ka nagkaka-hepatitis, no? Hepatitis B. Yung nagre-recap tayo ng mga syringes, which is a no-no, no? Dapat pagkagamit mo, hindi mo na kailangan siyang i-recap. Diretso na siya sa receptacle. Nung nasa health center pa ako, ang gamit namin is yung ng mga soft drinks, di ba? Yung, hindi ko sabihin kung anong brand, no? Pero basta yung soft drinks na lalagyan, yung ilagay nyo doon. Or meron din kaming hub cutter. Yung hub cutter, siya, ipapasok mo lang doon yung yung karayom sa syringe. Pag pinindot mo yung napuputol na yung yung karayom, yun lang ang naiiwan doon sa lalagyan. Tapos, of course, yung proper disposal ng ating mga biological waste, yan, sinusupot yan para hindi naka-open, hindi protektahan din naman natin yung mga nagko-kolekta, no? Tapos, of course, no, kung ikaw ay medtech, nag-handle ka ng mga blood, body fluids, dapat may mga PPE ka tulad ng yung nilalagay natin sa goggles, no, lalagay sa mata. Kasi pwede rin yung talsik diyan dadaan eh. So let us strengthen din yung prevention rather than doon sa screening. Accidentally na-prick ka. As mentioned kanina, meron post-exposure prophylaxis, no, na yung timeline na within 24 hours kailangan mabakunahan ka ng yung globulin na pwedeng magprotekta sa iyo para hindi hindi magtuloy yung virus sa pag-atake sa katawan mo. So yun yung mga ganoong practice, no, dapat nakalagay yan sa ating pong mga programs. No? Pero yung mga ganon more of sa naman yan, sa healthcare, at majority of healthcare facilities ay meron ganon mga protocol naman. Yan. So ang haba ng sagot ko, no. Yung tanong lang Anyway, pasensya na po at medyo excited lang.
Thank you, Doc. Marami naman po kami natutunan sa sharing niyo po, Doc, kanina. So for the next question po, Doc, ask ko lang po, processing plant po kami, reactive siya sa results ng medical certificate. Pwede bang magpa-vaccine siya para sa HEPA kahit reactive ang results niya?
Ay, hindi na po. Kasi regardless, magpa-vaccine siya or hindi naman pumaalis na yung niya, yung hepatitis niya, no? Hepa B niya po. No? Ang magandang gawin po natin, magpa-consult po siya sa doktor para malaman kung need pa ba siyang gamutin o ano yung mga supportive treatment ang pwedeng ibigay po sa kanya. Majority naman ng mga carrier hindi na kailangang gamutin, nagbibigay na lang ng gamot para sa protection sa liver. Pero yung medyo mataas yung yung viral level, yun yung mga ginagamot po, no? May mga ARVs na pwede pong ibigay, yung iniinom or pwede rin yung ini-inject, depende po sa sa magiging resulta ng examination.
Okay, sana po nasagot po yung ating katanungan on that note po. Okay, I think that was our last question po, and with that, we conclude our question and answer portion. Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng ating participants at viewers na aktibo po at nagpadala ng kanilang mga tanong at nakikiisa sa ating webinar ngayong hapon. We truly appreciate po your enthusiasm and active participation. It shows your commitment po to fostering safer and healthier workplace. We would also like to extend our heartfelt appreciation kay Doc Marco Antonio S. Valeros, Medical Officer 4 from the Bureau of Working Condition. Doc, maraming salamat po sa pag-join po sa atin ngayong pong afternoon and sharing your expertise and helping address the questions raised by our participants. Your valuable insights po have certainly enriched today's discussion.
Thank you rin po.
Thank you po, Doc. And of course, di na po papahuli to our distinguished resource speaker, Dr. Mary Rose or Hente, Medical Officer for the Department of Health, Disease Prevention and Control Bureau. On behalf of the Department of Labor and Employment, Bureau of Working Conditions, we sincerely thank you for your time po, dedication, and invaluable contribution to today's webinar Wednesday. Before we formally conclude today's program, we would like to express our appreciation through a simple gesture of gratitude. So on behalf of the Department of Labor and Employment, Bureau of Working Conditions, we extend our appreciation and to your valuable time, unwavering support, and invaluable contribution to today's webinar Wednesday po. As a simple token of our gratitude and appreciation, we are honored to present to you this certificate of appreciation. So citation reads, so this is awarded to Dr. Mary Rose or Hente in recognition and sincere appreciation of the invaluable support and significant contributions rendered as resource speaker in a successful conduct of our webinar Wednesday, Season 4, entitled Stop Hepatitis, Promoting a Safe and Healthy Workplace, held on July 29, 2026 via Facebook Live on the Bureau of Working Conditions official Facebook page. Given this date in the city of Manila, signed by our Director for DOLE of the Bureau of Working Condition, Attorney Alvin B. Corrada. So maraming salamat po, Dr. Mary Rose. Thank you very much po ulit for the generous sharing your expertise and valuable experience and practical insights po on hepatitis prevention and workplace health promotion. Your comprehensive discussion had equipped our participants po with valuable knowledge and practical guidance. We truly appreciate your support and we're looking forward to having you us again in the future learning session of the Bureau of Working Condition. And now, to our participants and viewers, alam ko na po itong pinakahihintay po ninyo. We heard you. We are pleased to share that certificate of attendance are now available. To receive your certificate po, simply scan the QR code flash on your screen to access our evaluation form. As a friendly reminder, please make sure po that your name and email address are entered correctly. So, wrong spelling is wrong po tayo. So, make sure lang po na once po na-scan natin, make sure po na the name and your email address are entered po correctly. So, this shall be used po in preparing and sending your certificate. Kindly note that only one evaluation form may be submitted per episode. So don't forget po to join us again in our next episode this coming August po. So make sure po na tayo ay sumama din sa susunod po na webinar Wednesday. Kita-kita po ulit tayo nun. So we hope to see you there for another exciting and informative learning session po. For your questions, comments, or other concern, you may email us at ask@bwc.dole.gov.ph or call the DOLE hotline 1349. As we end today's webinar, let us remember that building safe and healthy workplace begins with awareness, continuous learning, and shared responsibility. By working together, we can protect our workers, promote healthier work environment, and strengthen our culture of occupational safety and health. Before we officially end, don't forget po to follow the Bureau of Working Conditions on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Viber po at Dole BWC 1949 to stay updated on our upcoming programs, advisories, and future episodes of the Webinar Wednesday. If you found our Webinar Wednesday today helpful, we encourage you to share this live stream with your colleagues, friends, and family so that more Filipinos can learn about hepatitis prevention and the various programs and services of the Department of Labor and Employment and the Bureau of Working Condition. And if ever po na-missed out ninyo yung mga previous episodes po natin, don't worry because you can still watch them, the complete Webinar Wednesday episode from Season 1 to 4 on our official YouTube channel at your own convenience. On behalf of the Department of Labor and Employment, Bureau of Working Conditions, thank you very much for your continued support and active participation. We look forward to seeing you again in our next episode of #Webinar Wednesday. Once again, this is Stacey Ann Ray, your host and moderator signing off. Maraming salamat po. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day, everyone. Magandang araw po sa ating lahat.
Para sa mga katanungan at karagdagang impormasyon, maaari po tayong tumawag sa Dole Hotline 1349 o sumuni sa mga Dole Regional o Field Office na nakakasakop sa inyong lugar paggawa.